Hey, welcome to Healthier and Happier Humans, episode 20. I'm Ashley McGee, and this week I want to talk about keeping the spark alive in your relationship. And I'm going to actually put a little bit of a twist on it. You guys are probably looking at me like, Ashley, you're like not even 30. Like, what do you know about that? But I come at this with the perspective of someone that's been in a long distance relationship for a long time. So, my husband and I have actually yet to live together. We have been together for 3 years. We've been married about a year and a half. And because of our Navy careers, we haven't lived together. So, while I was in grad school in Monterey, he lived in San Diego, and currently he's actually deployed to Qatar. So by the time we actually get to live together, it'll be after our second wedding anniversary, and we'll have been going on about 4 years together, and only a year of that in the same place. So it's pretty crazy, right? And obviously we are learning and working on our relationship consistently, because that's part of it. But I wanted to share what I've learned. So, if it's something that you're going through, might be able to glean some knowledge. And sorry, I have something in my eye driving me nuts. Okay, I'm good. And even if you live with your human and you've been together a long time, you might still be able to get a couple nuggets in here, because the stuff I'm going to talk about today, I think really applies to any relationship. And yeah, so that's where I wanted to start us out. Okay. So whether you're in a long distance relationship, whether you are a military spouse and your spouse is on deployment, or you've just been with your partner for a long time, you gotta figure out ways to stay connected, I think, is the biggest thing. Like, make sure that you're maintaining and nurturing that connection with your partner. So, first thing that I've learned is talk about real things. Don't just talk about the small talk. And I think it can be really easy to get in the habit where you don't actually say anything when you talk to each other. It's like, oh, how's your day? This, that, blah, blah, blah. But I've realized relatively recently that it's just as important to check in and say, hey, like, how are you feeling? What are the things that scare you, that excite you, that, make you get out of bed in the morning? Or, in a distance relationship, like, what's worrying you? And having those conversations, having those real conversations, the deep conversations, I think even in a distance relationship, it really helps keep that connection alive. And one of the other ways that I love having those real conversations is dreaming together. I do a lot of that with my husband. We talk about what we're going to do when we finally live together, what our lives are going to look like, the activities that we want to do, when we want to start having kids. And I remind my husband that no, our future children will not just play video games and soccer, but they'll do other things too. Or I'm like, what if our kid just wants to like sit in a room and play the flute? Like, you got to be okay with that, man. Anyway, but we have these conversations, and again, it not only helps, keep that connection, but it also keeps you excited for the future with your partner. And I think that's so important. My third tip for you is to, I'll keep this PG, but figure out ways to have sexy times, okay? For the most part, intimate relationships, contact, intimacy is a part of maintaining a strong, healthy relationship. And that can be really difficult if you're distance, especially. So again, I'm keeping this PG and not going super into detail. But some ideas are, like flirt message or text or whatever with your partner. So sexting or just like flirty texts can, get you excited. Maybe if you're, investing in some toys that can be used. Oh my God, I'm so awkward. Anyway, what else? Uh, Sending pictures or, doing live video. Obviously be careful with that because the internet is a dangerous place. But those are ways that, if you're distance, you can kind of keep that alive as well. And doing those things together maintains the fact that you're having intimacy with your partner instead of just like, hanging out with a vibrator by yourself. Okay. Anyway, moving on. My last tip for you, and this is like one of my favorites, is learn to speak your partner's love language. First of all, learn what your partner's love language is, and then learn to speak it. And I am so proud of my husband. I just want to say that. I'm so proud of my husband because he has done a really good job learning what my love language is, and even from, halfway across the world, he still does a really good job making me feel loved. And I think that that is hugely important, regardless of whether or not you're long distance or even if you live together, right? Like the love language, it's so critical to your partner feeling loved. And that's what we're here for, right? So just to recap, the tips that I have for keeping up that spark, keeping up that connection in your relationship. Talk about real things. Don't just do small talk. Figure out ways to have sexy times. Dream together. Learn to speak your partner's love language. Oh, and bonus one that I totally forgot to talk about is have shared activities that make you feel connected. So when you're distance, it could be, you both see a movie like separately, obviously, but then you can come together and talk about it. Or you can read the same book and be able to talk about it. And I'm running out of time. So go out and live your happiest and most abundant life because I'm about